Hey, hi folks. So this is a lesson on landforms and the various forms of land. So in this case, it's an example of the coastal plain. So the way it has to be done is the coastal plain goes from the fall line to Atlantic Ocean coastline, and it was once an ocean floor when most of Georgia was converted was covered by the sea. It covers over 60% of the state. So this is basically only about the coastal plain of a certain state. So it could be done that way, and then there's um, um, a little map of the state where it shows the coastal plain. So this is easier because if you do this to the coastal plain, like you color this up, the coastal plain, you'll remember it better. So you kind of know that it goes from the fall line to the Atlantic Ocean. So this is the fall line. So we can actually remember the fall line starts here, which is a little more than half of the state, and it goes until the Atlantic Ocean, which is here, which is the coastline. So we now know that this is the coastline, and it says it's 60% of the state. So all this is coastline. It's 50% of the state is the coastline for this particular state. So we could actually refer to every state and find out how much of each state is really a coastline. So it was once an ocean floor when most of Georgia was covered by the sea. So this was really an ocean floor and was covered by the sea. So this basically is the coastline. What else is what happens in the coastline? So in this case, the coast plain has hot and humid summers and mild winters. Its sandy soil makes it ideal for farming. The land is wide and very flat. So again, we can see that there's a little diagram. So if you want to really remember how the land really is, it's hot, it's humid summers and mild winters. It has a sandy soil and makes it ideal for farming. So we could do, you know, this here to remember that this is all farming. This is farming land. And there is sand for the farming land. So basically this is the farming land, and the land is wide and very flat. So this is flat. You can see it's flat. It's interesting. So this is basically a flat land. This is probably a greenhouse. It's interesting. So that's as far as the coastal plain is concerned. Now, what type of animals? So many types of animals can be found roaming the wide open areas of the coastal plain. The herds of wild hogs feed off the plants that grow there. Other animals include rabbits, deer, muskrats, and snakes. So you could see the wild hog here. So basically, we could do a little bit of a coloring of the wild hog here to remember that basically it has wild hogs. Interesting. This one has a little horn here and a horn here. So that's what wild hogs are. You know, that the questions keep coming up to your brain, and it should, ideally, as to, oh, do people eat this as pork? I mean, what kind of hogs do people eat as pork? So, is this region supplying porks? We don't know. They're wild hog. So there it is, the city of Savannah on the coast of Georgia. has many beautiful live oak and cypress trees, sorry, covered with Spanish moss. Spanish moss is something sometimes called a plant because it can grow high in the tree tops and takes in all the nutrients it needs from the air. The the sauce palmetto is a small palm. Its leaves have small tiny teeth that look like saw blade and gave it its name. So in this case, it's very interesting because you could see these mosses, even in the Spanish moss. I think even in other coastal areas like Florida, and I've seen them I've seen in other coastal areas too. So interestingly, the coastal areas in Asia and Europe, I don't know. I've not seen the Spanish moss. So I don't know if it is very relevant to the coastal area, or then there is this saw palmetto, small palms. This is probably seen in other coastal plain areas too, I think. So this is basically it. Then the next one is this pocket gopher is very rare in the coastal plains. It's near extinction and is rarely seen above ground. You can find it in tunnels under the earth. So the coastal plain also has many types of turtles and tortoises. And tortoises are the ones we see in the tropical areas who are coastal too. The bog turtle is the rarest reptile in the state. An alligator snapping turtle can grow up to 300 pounds. That's as much as 2 full-grown people weigh. So this is how the alligator snapping turtle, gosh, that looks scary, looks like. And this is basically how the bog turtle looks like. I don't know what the difference between the turtle and the bog turtle is. Looks a little different with the tail here like this, and the waist, the face probably. But this turtle looks like this. Interesting. It's a snapping turtle. Okay, so this is how basically a coastal lesson can be done for every region, every state. And then this could be a riddle time where I'm a plant that grows on tree. What am I? Spanish moss. I'm rarely seen above ground. What am I? Pocket gopher. I'm a rarest reptile in the state. What am I? Bog turtle. I'm an